Like you said, it was
It was
basically
filler.
filler. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a real story, but it was like for a movie, so yeah, it's basically filler. I was just a little confused. Is it like that in real life? Like if you like do a crime like on a Westerner, is that worse than doing a crime on someone actually in the country?
I think they were saying because like this is their refuge or something. What was the words
It was a
exactly?
foreigners like village or something. Foreigner. It was a
Yeah.
town known for foreigners being there.
And they were like, "You live here for 3 days. You're native." I'm like, "All right, that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy." What the heck? 3 nights I'm a native? I don't know about that.
I think he's just exaggerating the culture.
Yeah, but he was saying that is the saying. The guy in this town, he was like, "That is the saying," but you know, that's not necessarily true.
Like, how long do you think you gotta live somewhere to be a native?
It has to be relative to your lifespan. So like, let's say you're 30, right? And then you
Okay.
move to a new city or a new state and you stay there for 2 years. I wouldn't say you're native, but once it gets to like 5, I would say, okay, yeah, you're a native. Because 5 years is a lot of time to learn a lot about the city and the town. And you know, like a lot of things happen, a lot of things change. But if you're a kid, let's say you're a little kid, you live one place for 2 years, and then you move, and then you stay at that place for 3 years. I would say you're a native at the new place because you spent more than half your life at the new place than the other place.
Okay. I would say,
But obviously the numbers can change. But you get what I'm saying though. Like it's relative based on age and time, and so yeah.
I think my range is in the same ballpark as you. I'd say like 4 years, like 4 to 5 years. I think you're pretty native to that place.
Yeah.
'Cause I moved around a lot
Mm-hmm.
because of my parents. So like I was in North Carolina until I was 7, and then Delaware until I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been in Ohio basically since I was 13. I moved back to Tennessee for like probably like 2 years in total, counting when I came back, counting like summer breaks and like COVID coming back. And then I came back for a year after I graduated. And then I come back to Ohio again. So I've been in Ohio for like 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
But like whenever someone asks me like, where are you from?
You say Delaware?
I feel like most of the time I say North Carolina just because that's where I was born. But I honestly have a hard time.
I mean, I think it's wherever you have the most
about it.
experiences at. Wherever you have the most experiences, and you know, you've been in that culture, then I think that's where you're from.
Okay.
Because even with the time thing, like we said, the 5 years, like you could be 30 and you're from somewhere else. Those 5 years don't, you know, take away everything you learned or your experiences from wherever you lived prior. So you would still be, well, I guess being a native and being from that place isn't the same thing. Even though, like, usually when someone says I'm a native to this area, that means I'm from this area.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's an interesting question.
It's a 4 to 5 year thing. I also don't get like accents either.
What do you mean you don't get them?
Like someone can like, I guess it all depends like your formative years, like your childhood years. Like someone can move to New York at like, I don't know, like 30 and like live there for 20 more years, but like still have the same accent from wherever they came from.
Yeah. But that's, yeah, like you said, formative years.
I always found that weird. Like my parents, like my dad, for example, is like from Baltimore, and he still has like a Baltimore accent, even though he's lived in so many different places. Hasn't lived in Baltimore for like 20 years.
Yeah, but like you said, that's where he, you know, grew up learning how to speak.
Yeah.
But I have seen people who have lived in multiple areas and have multiple accents. Yeah, it was a TikTok video I seen. This guy, he was from the UK, but he moved to America and he moved to Atlanta. And when he first got there, he was saying like he used to talk like he was in the UK. And then after he grew up in Atlanta, he began talking like how they talk in Atlanta. So now he can talk in either accent whenever he wants to.
That's crazy. That reminds me of like some of those like British actors that play in like American shows and movies, and they like change their accent so easily.
Yeah.
It always throws me off. But Kenshin was really just about Westerners and cargo ships and the Great Revolution, medicine, and all this other stuff. I want to know, first of all, the native doctor
Was a
taking
girl the
business
whole
from the
time.
foreign doctor kind of reminded me of like he was talking about the markets and like, you know, you're offering these services for free. So like if you keep doing that and treating everyone who can't pay, then you're
Then
gonna
we would
bring
have
the
to come down
market
in
down.
price. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're gonna mess with our money. And like it just made me think of like our trying to relate it to like our real world. Like, do you
I mean, that's
think
how business works though.
that's what I'm gonna say? Like, how do you feel about our healthcare system?
Oh, if I think healthcare should be free,
Sure,
I
yeah.
definitely feel like that's essentially what it is. Free healthcare versus non-free healthcare. And if healthcare is free, why would I ever go pay for it if it's free at this person? And they also have like the same medicinal practices. And they're
Yeah.
also well known. Um I think healthcare should be free. I think healthcare should be free. I think food to a certain extent should be free. Um and I think food, water, and house, shelter, food, water, and healthcare should be free. But just because those things are free doesn't mean they're good. Like obviously, if I have money and I can buy a better, better food, you know what I'm saying? Like then I should be able to do
Yeah.
that. That option should be available. But I think the bare minimum, it should be free because that's just like things you need, especially with how society has been made. Like we have a whole system. Because technically speaking, if we didn't have just like natural, if we were just like natural, how animals are, like there's no rules, there's no nothing, then okay, it is what it is. But if we put all these rules into place to build a society, if we're gonna do that with all this other stuff, why don't we put rules in places for people to also have the necessary needs they require? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost like when you think about it, it's like, all right, we put all these rules in place to make things, work properly in society to have like structure. But then the things that are needs for everybody, we kind of just say, yeah, you just gotta deal with it.
Yeah. That is how it is. Like I'm trying to think of like if everyone just got like the bare minimum or just like the basic package,
Right.
food, water, shelter, whatever that looks like, enough to live or survive even.
Yeah.
At that point, I think everyone is just satisfied at the very least. Like they say like there's
Yeah.
once you
Obviously
have your
people are gonna
basic
want,
needs.
yeah. People are gonna want, like internet and things like that, but that's not a need, that's not like
Right.
the basic needs. I think should be checked off. And then if you want to upgrade those needs, obviously you can spend money to get upgraded versions of those things. So like you want better food, okay, you pay for better food. You want a better house, you pay for a better house. You want, uh, better healthcare, you pay for. But then it's like, their thing is like healthcare, no matter what kind of healthcare it is, should be free, which I agree with.
I
And the
also
other
agree.
dudes, because like the other guys, kind of like if it's something minimal, okay. But once you start giving people like extremely expensive operations or stuff like that, he's like, all right, now you're cutting into to my money because they're not going to come to me for that stuff. But let's say, for instance, they just come to you for a band-aid. He probably wouldn't even care. He's like, okay, you just need a
Yeah.
band-aid. But once you actually start giving them actual, you know,
I feel like
uh,
sir like giving them actual like cures to like big stuff. Like I don't like I feel like things that are just like wants in the medical field, like those obviously you should still have to pay for. Like if someone goes out of the way to learn how to be a plastic surgeon specifically, like I don't know, and you want a breast augmentation, like that should still cost money to me
Yeah,
because
that's
it's not
not a
really a
need. That's not
need.
necessary. It's just something you
Yeah,
want. Yeah.
like all that
Stuff like
extra
that. Like if
stuff,
you're about to die and you need this, that should be free.
right? Like if you, I don't know, get in a car accident and you're bleeding out, you shouldn't have to pay $10,000 for the ambulance that had to get you or something like that. Like that stuff to me should be free, but stuff that isn't dire and just like cosmetic or just like wants
Hmm.
should still, you can still make your money off that,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But then I don't know how you would go about paying everyone and stuff like that. Like I don't,
Oh, the people that provide those services,
yeah,
they should be set up. Like if you're a doctor, then you shouldn't have to pay for anything. Like people who work those jobs where their service is free and is necessary for life should be able to do or get whatever they want.
like what do you mean everything they want?
Like let's say they want a bigger house, they should be able to get a bigger house for free because they're a doctor, or they want a because they wouldn't be getting paid, like or tax dollars would be going to it. I guess you could say we tax people to provide because that's how usually free healthcare works. Like the taxes that everybody puts into or pays goes to these services, and those tax dollars are used to pay the people in those positions. So I guess I
Right,
take away what I said about them getting everything for free because they would still be getting paid. It's just that everybody would be paying. That's low key the biggest reason people don't want free healthcare because they feel like, oh, it'll
right,
be more taxes. Why am I paying for somebody else's, you know, healthcare? I just want to pay for mine. Um, so if it's a situation where there's no taxes to pay those people and they're just working for free, then they should be able to get things for free to a certain extent. Obviously, you can have access of like resources and stuff like that. But if you want a bigger house, okay, you can get a bigger house. You want a, like just general stuff. Obviously, there's a limit, but they should be able to get things like their house. They shouldn't have to pay for electricity or water and like stuff like that. But then again, they can't turn around and start selling electricity and water because that's you getting this for free and you get what I'm saying? But it would be like checks and balances on stuff like that. But in a world where there's no taxes that are going to pay them and they're just doing all this stuff for free, then they should be able to get stuff for free in return as well. Like their shelter, their food, like just like the other people, their shelter, food, all that should be free. And then if they want to get stuff because they're not getting paid for like the things they want, they should be allowed to get certain things for free at a certain limit, I guess you could say.
okay.
But then it comes into like why is there a limit for what I do? I work for free, so I can't exceed my limit because I'm working for free. I don't want to work
There's
for free
always
too
gonna be
much.
people that want
Yeah,
more.
yeah. So obviously it's a lot that would have to go into it. That's probably why it's not like this right now because it's not as simple. It's not that simple. But it would be, I don't know, in the perfect world, food, shelter, healthcare should be free. Perfect world, but the world's not perfect, so it is
Right.
what it is.
That's why we got Kenshin
Yeah.
to save the world. Only other thing I have about this, do you think that they hold back cures to make more money?
I think so.
Or you
Like
think they have like the cure to like, I don't know,
cancer.
like diabetes or cancer, for example?
Um, I don't want to say they have the cure, but I definitely feel like so I haven't done like a whole lot of research, but I have seen that majority of like someone who owns like all of the medical stuff, it's the same people that owns it all for the most part. Like the food, the medicine, it's like a collective group and they have majority ownership of all those things. So for them, it's like if I cure all this stuff, I'm going to lose money. So let me give cures, but not the full cure. I'm not going to say they give you stuff to create more symptoms. I'm not going to go that crazy, but I do think they might have better forms of medicine that they don't necessarily use for lesser forms of medicine that also help, but it just helps slower in some situations. I wouldn't put it past anybody. we live in a, people are very messed up. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past.
I feel like they do that. Like they do. A lot of people like. I think that's why a lot of people also turn to like alternative medicine and stuff like that. Because like I feel like they give you things that don't
They give you
cure
more
the
side
problem.
effects. Yeah.
They just like They just like
mitigate it, but then it gives
they
you
just
other side
mitigate it.
effects. Like when you ever see the commercials, like if you take this, you may experience da 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 da
Yeah.
da da da.
Blindness, death, blood
Yeah.
pressure, suicidal thoughts. Yeah, that's how it'd be. Like, yeah, for like the depression medicine, some of the side effects be like, you may die, or you might get suicidal thoughts for the depression medicine or something like that. It's a weird, sick world out there. I think that's all I got for this
same.
episode. We didn't really talk about the episode, but I feel there wasn't really much to talk about.
Yeah.
I'd rather just talk about the healthcare system. The actual episode. What was your episode of the week?
JJK. Come on now. Is that a question? Is that even a question?
Man. No, that was probably my episode
I
of the week
sent
as
you the
well.
text. It's definitely the top new gen anime. It's like it's no debate.
I remember
It's
that. I just
#1.
didn't know what other animes you considered new gen.
New gen?
Like you said, it's definitely big three, new gen, new big three or something.
I don't even think it's a big three. It's just big one.
It's
JJK.
just JJK?
Big one. That's it.
Nothing else?
Nothing else. My Hero's not messing with it. Demon Slayer's not messing with it. Black Clover's not messing with it. Like, what else is new?
I mean, you might be right, honestly.
Nothing's messing with it, bro.
You might be right. I don't know if anything's
big
messing
one.
with it.
Chainsaw Man not messing with it.
No.
Chainsaw Man is okay, but Chainsaw Man not messing with it.
Yeah, I really can't think of nothing. Like shonen.
It's big one, bro. It's big one.
There's really nothing. Obviously, AOT's popular, but that just ended and it was prolonged. It should have ended long ago.
Yeah.
And My Hero is like on season. Is gonna be like on season like 7 or 8 at this point.
Yeah. But I still consider that new gen. It came out when we were in high school.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I guess not. JJK doesn't really have much competition, but it also doesn't drop that often.
But that takes time. We can go off manga though, like manga dates. I think we did this about like what came out around Attack on Titan, like what also.
Yeah, we did that.
We talked about that. Yeah, so
JJK's number 2 to One Piece.
Yeah, but that's not new gen.
Yeah, it's not. That's what I said.
Old as hell.
Old gen.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
I guess it really doesn't have any competition. That's crazy. Like, there's really not. The only other show, like because the year's about to end, I was thinking about like what was my favorite shows of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's just like Heavenly Delusion and JJK.
Yeah.
Like those are my 2 favorites for this year.
So My Hero was last year, right?
Yeah. And I feel like I have to rewatch that season and the season before that because I didn't even watch that one. But My Hero was all right. But this year, I feel like there wasn't really anything else. There's definitely nothing else touching this, at least animation wise.
You didn't. I mean, this is not even on the same class, but Blue Lock, you didn't watch that.
I didn't watch that.
But
no.
that's not like a shonen. I mean, I guess it is a sports shonen, but Blue Lock was really good. But I'm not going to put that up there with JJK. You know what I'm saying? But I did enjoy that show a lot. And you should have watched Blue Lock. We should have watched that instead of some of the shows we watched.
I don't regret any of the shows we watched.
Yeah, they
were an experience.
I have regrets. I have regrets.
They were an experience. I don't regret anything. I still see every now and then posts saying
Trigun
anime you should watch, and I see Trigun Stampede on there, and I'm like, all right, this list is in the trash already.
Yeah, like, bro, I'm not suggesting that to anybody, bro. Go watch the OG. Don't watch that, bro. I don't know what that was. And
I was just Revenger over Stampede.
Yeah, Revenger was That's another one I regret too. The whole first episode could have been a whole show.
Yeah.
when they just sped through all of that. I'm like, bro, they skipped through all of him figuring out who's dealing the opium, who set him up to kill his father-in-law, and then he gets there and he kills him, and then he gets back to the house and his fiance kills herself. Like that could have
Yeah.
literally been the whole first season, and then the second season it could have just been everything they did after.
If JJK does go on a break, it's gonna be tough treading here.
Oh yeah, we won't have anything to watch.
He's so undead and Kenshin. Some shows, I think some shows that are close to coming out, or at least bubbling. I think that Kaiju show and Solo Leveling
It
have
was
some
this one
hype.
anime that's on Adult Swim that